My name is Ken Cameron. I'm a city councilor in the city of Geneva. I've written down my comments and I'm just going to read them. I'm pretty sure I can get under the 3 minutes. The only honest thing that SMI and the proponents of continuing the dumping operations in Seneca Falls can say about their operation is it's a dirty job and somebody's got to do it. But whether SMI, the Finger Lakes Railway, or other businesses who don't want their taxes raised, and any other and their arguments and any other arguments are bought and paid for by their employers. They are not thinking of the general public or the thousands of jobs in the North Seneca Lake region that depend on the clean, beautiful environment and pastoral and scenic vistas that are essential to an agritourism-based economy. I can imagine the intense pressure this town board must be under and feeling with the proposition of Town Ordinance Local Law Number 7, limiting the future growth of the SMI dump. And it is not that the community hasn't given them a chance to perform, but it's kind of an impossible job. Whatever date you come up with in the next 5 to 7 years, it should be a hard closure date. Which, by the way, will not be the end of the trouble this landfill is going to cause this region well past that date into the future. The letters, articles, and press releases in the media are probably an indication of the many hours of conversation that you've had with SMI and your constituents. The public stuff we see from SMI, Finger Lakes Railway, and other proponents arguing for continuing a mega dump in Seneca Falls, which is bought and paid for by these private interests, suggests that the community cannot live without the dump. The financial burden will be too great. The tax increases will have too great an impact on residents and businesses. Seneca Falls has already taken $35 million over the last 15 or 20 years, and this is now where we are. Do you think that if you take money for another 10 years and deposit another 19 million tons of solid waste at your doorsteps, things will improve? And what about the biggest elephant in the room? It is even bigger than the bullying mega dump called SMI. It's the gross assumption that it is safe and healthy for the 5,000 to 6,000 residents of Seneca Falls and Waterloo to live, work, and attend school within 1.5 miles of the dump. We know nothing about the air quality around here, and yet there are people who are advising us, or advising you, to take the money rather than find out. And on top of that, SMI, with the help of the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, is trying to claim that the stricter air quality standards of the EPA Title V Major Status Designation does not apply to the dump.
You are 3 minutes.
And the energy, I'll be just 1 more minute. And the applied to the dump and the landfill. This in effect allows 2 facilities higher levels of air pollution emissions because they're being treated by the DEC as 2 separately controlled sources.
Okay, Ken. Thank you. Ms. Joanne Elliott. Oh, you're there.
Yes. Okay. First things along for you. My name is Joanne Elliott. I'm a taxpayer of Seneca Falls. Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak this evening. When the local law number 7 was proposed, I had hoped that an end date for the mega dump was within reach. Consequently, when the public hearing to discuss it was postponed, along with my profound disappointment, my first response was that common sense is not just dead, it's been catapulted out the window. Your initial actions and the introduction of local law resonated with the people that you represent, as well as many folks from other communities. We implore you to take a stand now and not pass this massive burden off to a future board and their constituents. Revenue loss is of a paramount importance for everyone. Supervisor Lazaro took a huge step in calling for department heads to reduce their budgets by 15%. All of you are aware of additional options to cut the budget. There are citizens actively involved in finding ways to offset the landfill revenue too. I believe in this board's capabilities and leadership in paving the way to break the bonds that bind us to this disgusting, embarrassing landmark that will ever define the northern gateway to the Finger Lakes. The postponement of local law hearing, and with the understanding that you are renegotiating the host agreement, have many of us concerned. We know the history of this landfill, meaning that there is a total lack of trust. SMI continuously breaches the current 2007 host agreement. How can you trust that they will honor and be in compliance with any new host agreement? Are you considering a renegotiated agreement that's in alignment with the 10-year DEC renewal permit request that will allow the landfill to operate until 2027? At the current permitted rate of 6,000 tons per day of garbage, their airspace capacity ends in 2023. Without expansion or planning a new landfill, why would they need an agreement that runs through 2027? The withdrawn $1 billion trashed by rail deal, the recent purchase of millions of dollars of surrounding land, and the fact that a national leading waste corporation has heavily invested and is now their parent company, it is an obvious tell that the landfill has no intentions to stop dumping here for the next 20, 30, or years beyond that. None of us is so naive as to believe that this landfill will not use all their vast resources and influence to see a more favorable cash for trash future town board. Just as you are working on now, a host agreement can be renegotiated and in place enforced local law could not easily be repealed. Please protect us now with local law number 7. Thank you very much.
Wonderful people back then. Well done.
I'm Carl Elliott from Seneca Falls. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. The fact that this landfill...
Can't hear
My time's up already. The fact that this landfill reacted so quickly with public intimidation and threats to a proposed local law that would have essentially grandfathered them until 2025, demonstrates that they are aware that Seneca Falls can exercise the town's police powers under municipal home rule law, quote, for the physical and mental well-being of its citizens and to restrict waste disposal operations within their town, quote. As a matter of court record, quote, municipalities enacting local laws to protect health, welfare, and safety will enjoy a strong presumption of validity by the courts, and a heavy burden will be imposed upon those who challenge such local laws, end quote. When all else fails, this landfill will sue to get what they want. If you are not intimidated, you will prevail. Let's end this reign of landfill abuse, regain our dignity, protect our quality of life, health, property values, environment, regional tourism, women's history, and award-winning wineries. Thousands of future jobs and the reputation of our historic local community for us in generations to come. Act now, yes to local law number 7.
All right.
Good evening. I'm sporting my new shirt with the nickname that somebody gave me at the rally in Geneva. I'm all over the internet as a trash wire. From one of our Seneca Falls finest, by the way. One of the things that I've noticed after watching this situation develop is that after going to numerous meetings, including Hobart's landfill summits, 2 of them, I have noticed that every attempt is made to sway public opinion against the landfill. At your meeting at the library, I believe you refused to give the railroad representative an opportunity to speak. At the rec center meeting, I watched the video, and landfill representative was right there to answer questions, but you just kept allowing people to ask these questions, and some of the statements that were made were so bizarre, I found it very comical. Now, this whole argument has taken place once before, in front of a much bigger crowd. This is a DEC judge's ruling on the same argument that you guys are making today. And he, by his wording, was very displeased the fact that some people were wasting his time. Now, I suggest that in the future, you allow both sides equal time, equal opportunity, and see to it that the press also does that. Because Mr. Shaw has a tendency to eliminate certain things in order to fan the flames, so to speak. Now, I'm going to give this to your attorney. You should have a copy of your own. Also, I've given you information on landfill gas. And I feel it is your responsibility that when somebody stands up and makes a totally bizarre, off-the-wall statement, that you should correct it so that the public is not alarmed. There's nothing but scare tactics, innuendos, and this is not just my opinion, but the administrative law judge that told the DEC to go ahead with the expansion permit in 1999 agrees with me. Thank you.
At the meeting at the rec center, Kyle Black was there, and I do believe Kyle did speak and present some information about what the landfill was doing to correct some of the problems they're having.
Let's have the petitioners talk, and we won't respond to them as we have done in previous meetings. Information might be wrong. We can't help that wrong information. If it's really egregious, perhaps we should, but it's going to be a long meeting tonight, so let's just listen to the petitioners. They have a lot to say. But thank you for speaking out at that point.
Trying to defend Kyle because he did speak.
Yes.
And we asked him to. Right.
All good?
Okay, Mr. McGee?
Yeah,
Oh,
my name,
how you
I'm here.
doing?
I'm trying to help with the time.
Are you going to have you're the guy who
I am
does
the
the
guy.
Bernie Sanders route?
I'm not going to do the Bernie Sanders routine tonight.
You're not gonna do that tonight.
And I don't have a snazzy shirt like my former speaker, my previous speaker did. So, my name is Darren McGee. I'm at the colleges. I was one of the co-organizers of the landfill summit that Mr. McGill mentioned. The first one and the second one. I'd be more than happy to talk about egregious errors that were made or weren't made at that summit, or scare tactics that are being used apparently. I'm here not to oppose some nameless or faceless landfill or garbage industry or the people who work in it. In fact, there are a lot of faces here and faces attached to bodies wearing yellow vests that I know. I've met before. I just saw one who's in my daughter's class. Hey, Miles. But I am here and I'm not here to argue that people shouldn't have jobs that pay living wages. I'm here to argue that we shouldn't have to choose between jobs that are degrading and dirty and dangerous and jobs that pay living wages, right? Long ago, the scholars and activists and community members and religious leaders who first investigated the locations of toxic facilities such as landfills and smelters and whatnot in communities of color, in poor communities, in rural communities, and communities desperate for cash and jobs, argued very forcefully in the 70s that this was an unfair choice, a damned if you do, damned if you don't choice that communities shouldn't have to be presented with. That it's an environmental justice consideration, and since 1994, the federal government has recognized that all decisions regarding environmental consideration, potential environmental degradation, such as to permit or not to permit a landfill, should consider environmental justice questions. And I am here to argue that those questions should be considered. Do I throw away garbage? Absolutely. Have I taken a trailer load of garbage or 10 to Seneca Meadows landfill and been met with smiling faces who helped me out every time? Absolutely. Have I taken my geography of garbage class to the landfill 5 or 6 times, as well as numerous summer classes of students from all across the state in the Northeast, and even Korea, Italy, France, Germany, other countries around the world? Absolutely, right? I would be happy if the landfill were here to serve this community. We all generate garbage. We're trying to be creative with reducing that garbage. We have an incentive to be creative with reducing the amount of damage that we do to our local environment. Downstate importers or exporters of garbage have zero incentive. And if I will stop I'll add one other thing. I came here 9 years, how much time I had left? About 30 seconds? 30 minutes? 30 seconds. 16, okay, 16 seconds, okay. Came here 9 years ago. I wasn't teaching a garbage class. The reason I teach a garbage class, some of you know this story, is because I became puzzled at why 12,500 tons of dumping capacity per day should be located within 8 miles, or within 20 miles of the college where I was accepting the environmental studies position. We are accepting an unfair share of the garbage in the state of the Northeast, and we need to stop it. Thank you.
Is Jennifer Marshall here? Oh, okay.
First, can you hear me? Okay. First, thanks to the current representatives who are working diligently. I recognize that what you are doing is not easy, and I applaud all the hard work your rules require. My name is Jennifer Marshall. I own a home on Lower Lake Road. I am against Seneca Meadows' request to extend their contract. They have proven that they have not been able to properly manage the space they are entrusted with controlling. Efforts being made now to address smells continue to be ineffective. Isn't it their responsibility to anticipate and control dangerous fumes and toxins prior to problems occurring and prior to public outcry? How can we consider allowing them to continue managing an already unmanaged area? We know we'll be confronted with health problems. We know there will be environmental problems long after the landfill is closed. We know that no barrier has ever been created that is permanent forever. We know it will inevitably affect future generations. We need to be responsible stewards of our land. The buck stops with us. Many of us ask, what are we inhaling? What about our health? Does anyone really know if it's dangerous? Studies already conducted point to an increase in adverse health effects, low birth weight, birth defects, certain types of cancers that have been reported near individual landfill sites and in some multi-site studies. Seneca Meadows has not implemented any measures for exposure assessment in the community, even though there is technology available. Once, when they came to sniff, and I was told it could be my daffodils, I asked if they could measure the smell. I was told that no technology exists. Yet there are many devices that can be used for just that, such as the nasal ranger or other olfactometer devices. $1,500 is a small price for a large investment. So again, I ask, why would we engage in dialogue with a facility when mechanisms were never put in place that are readily available to ensure the safety of our community? Once I was told by an employee that they used deodorizers like Febreze. I asked what it was, and the nice woman on the phone told me that there was nothing bad in it, from Seneca Meadows. OSHA requires any workplace to have what are called MDS forms that list all chemicals in all products within the work environment that employees could be exposed. When I asked if she had access to the MDS sheet, she said she did. Yet when I requested a copy, she said that they switched to a new product and it wasn't yet available. I requested a copy when it was in, and a year later, I'm still waiting. If we are breathing and exposed to the same chemicals as workers, shouldn't we have access to the MDS forms? I have not received a written report from my most recent complaint. I have not received return calls when I have complained. I know I'm not the only one with these experiences. At the least, how do these actions honor their value of our community? We have taken more than our fair share of trash and toxins. We have already been negatively impacted by the presence of Seneca Meadows. Enough is enough. Extending a contract for them to continue to fill the landfill is not our community's problem. The smells and health ramifications
You're
are.
at 3 minutes.
I urge you not to extend the contract, ensure no rails bring waste from anywhere to Seneca Falls in our future, and support the passing of local laws.
I'd like to thank Thomas Jefferson and the founders of our country for establishing the Bill of Rights so that we have free speech, and that the people here tonight on both sides get a chance to voice their opinion on each side. I think that's the American way, and I'm proud to be an American. Albert Einstein stated, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. For example, on the one hand, we benefit financially from Seneca Meadows. A few examples: the library, the community center, the fire department, natural gas for the district schools, but the landfill's negative effect on the health and welfare of the people of Seneca and the adjacent counties of Ontario and Wayne and Cayuga is too big a price to pay. On the one hand, Seneca Meadows provides jobs. It's my understanding from Mr. Black, 100 jobs have been created out at Seneca Meadows, 70 of which are full-time jobs and 30 are part-time or seasonal. Jobs are important. And not only that, Seneca Meadows does affect other jobs. For example, the truck drivers depend on Seneca Meadows. We all believe that jobs are very important. However, over the last couple decades, countless jobs were lost. They were lost because businesses would not locate here. They wouldn't locate here because of the smell, the sight, and the health risk of the landfill. There's a direct correlation between the dump and real estate. On the one hand, the mountains of trash are multiplying into a chain of mountains, and each becomes higher and higher and higher, and reaching almost 300 feet each. And as they raise higher and higher, our home values go lower and lower and lower. This town board is empowered, they're the only ones that are empowered, to decide the fate of Seneca Meadows and to act and reflect what is in the best interest of the citizens of those that you represent. It's time now to stand strong with this board and say no to getting a new permit in 2017 on behalf of...
You had 3 minutes.
Say no to the permit.
All right.
Thank you very much.
I'm going to take pity on the board tonight, and I'm not going to speak. I'll wait till the next meeting on the 22nd. Thank you. But again, you know our feelings about how we need changing times, call for changing things to make things grow, and we need to look at how we handle our waste. This is a perfect time to do it. Thank you.
Thank you. James Mitchell.
My name is James Mitchell. Thank you for letting me speak to the board. First, I want to thank the town board for allowing us all to speak. We now have a very important decision to make to deal with more of the same conditions at the landfill for past local law number 7. I would choose local law number 7 as the first legal step in the right decision to close the landfill. For years, we have put up with garbage, smell, and contamination. The smell coming from the landfill covers a wide area, and I'm concerned that our health is at risk from breathing it in. They say they are going to shut down, but they continue to buy property. Action speaks louder than words, and it looks like expansion to me. We all live in the beautiful Finger Lakes region, and we want to keep it that way. We're tired of being dumped on. Thank you very much.
Kristen Bauer-Gross.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for listening to me tonight. I'm Kristen Bauer-Gross. I live in Farmington, New York, but I grew up in Waterloo, class of 1999. My mother, Susan Bauer, lives at 2B Carlton Road, which is adjacent to the Seneca County office buildings. And she's had really bad odors for 8 years. She has the hotline on speed dial. She's called probably a dozen or more times. And she's also concerned for, and as our whole family is, concerned for the health implications related to everyone that lives in close proximity to the landfill. An example is my family spent last Christmas together, and if you remember, last Christmas was a gorgeous, sunny 60s day. And after eating, we went out to enjoy a family walk, which we were all so appalled by the stink, we didn't even make it 1 block. I mean, my mother's now considering moving. I mean, is that what's going to happen to the whole town? Everyone will start thinking that way. It's heart-wrenching to consider because she's lived in Waterloo her whole life. And my mom told me she wanted to speak today, but she knew she'd end in tears and wouldn't make it through talking. She's already witnessed how the landfill's odor has affected the sale of her father's house, my grandfather's home on Church Street in Waterloo, went on the market in the fall of 2014. The realtor mentioned several potential buyers love the house, but not the terrible odor that came with it. And reported there was even one couple that got out to see the house and immediately got right back in their car after they smelled the terrible smell. When I asked my mother if she feels the price of the house was affected due to the landfill, she said yes, we had to keep lowering the price because of complaints of odors and the nearby landfill. My parents did call the landfill to discuss the matter and they received no response, and they did eventually go to visit the landfill in person to discuss the issue, and they were greeted by apathetic staff who said, we don't know what you're doing here and we don't want to buy your house. So it makes my mom worried about the value of her own home if she did want to sell herself, and the declining home values of everyone in the neighborhood. The Finger Lakes Times on May 29th says they're working on odor issues, and so hopefully we see improvement there. But all of the issues with the landfill has really gotten me thinking about the bigger picture. And according to the EPA, 20% of municipal landfills is made up of yard waste. Another 20% is made up of food waste. And they say that 75% of solid waste is recyclable, even though only 30% is actually recycled. And so I challenge us each to do more and to educate our neighbors and friends on recycling and composting so that we can all actually avoid the bulk of what goes into landfills. And we need this mandated, and hopefully in the future this will be something that governments can positively reinforce people to do. So, thank you very much.
Did you give him the copy?
My name is Allison Stokes. I've owned a home on West Baird Street since 2002. I am 74 years old, a scholar, and a retired clergywoman. I was drawn to Seneca Falls as if by a magnet. I identify with Elizabeth Cady Stanton and all foremothers who labored for women's equality. Now I'm leaving. Next week, movers are coming to take my household possessions to a Rochester apartment. I am escaping the toxic odors and air pollution caused by Seneca Meadows' mountains of imported garbage. A Massachusetts friend calls me an environmental refugee. It's a perfect description. I am an environmental refugee. The agenda listing is an error. Before an airplane takes off, passengers are instructed in the event of an emergency, when oxygen masks drop down, put on your own mask before helping the one next to you. That's what I'm doing in this environmental emergency. After treatment for cancer 3 summers ago, I'm protecting my health by moving away. I will not live here, but I will continue to own my house and to pay property taxes. And I promise to continue writing and speaking out against the multi-billion-dollar enterprise that is degrading our region and threatening our health. Seneca Falls is facing a crisis of enormous proportions. We are at a critical juncture. Local Law 7 gives us a one-time only opportunity to shut down the dump. If we fail to act now, the consequences will be irreversible. Irreversible. A lucrative multinational corporation has worked to make our town totally dependent on its largesse and to frighten us with threats and dire consequences if Local Law 7 passes. What wealthy executives have failed to take into account is the resourcefulness and determination of local citizens to protect our community's well-being. Brad Jones and others with financial expertise have developed a plan to mitigate the impact of closing Seneca Meadows. The people need to hear and discuss information that Brad has to share. I urge the board to invite the former mayor to make a presentation at the town meeting on June 22nd.
Mr. Lee Henry.
Well, this is going to be very short. I'm sorry to hear about Allison leaving, but I'm afraid that's not going to be the first you're going to hear about that. My name is Leland Henry, and I'm a member of Concerned Citizens of Seneca County. I support the town board enacting local law number 7. I am still mad as hell and believe the town and the county have had more than enough of landfilling, and are not going to take it anymore. That's breathed clean in 17. Thank you.
Martha? Yep. Could you tell us your name?
Martha Hausen.
Okay. Thank you.
Good evening. I'd like to thank the board for the opportunity to speak tonight. My name is Marty Hausneck. I live in Waterloo, New York. I have worked at Seneca Meadows landfill for 22 years. I like where I work, I like the people I work with, and I do not want to be forced out of my job. It is not just a job or a paycheck that we are in jeopardy of losing. It's our homes, our 401ks, our employee benefits, our health benefits, and our retirement futures that we have invested in this company. I live in Seneca County. My family lives in Seneca County. We spend our money in Seneca County. We all live here and support the community. Although the public hearing for the local law was postponed, I request that you do not move forward with the local law number 7. The financial impact that it would have on us at this stages of our life would be devastating. Thank you for hearing me. I encourage you to listen to all of us and all the facts and the impact this law would have on my fellow employees and their families, as well as myself and mine. We have careers that we want to keep in Seneca County. We shouldn't be bullied and called names on various social media formats. These tactics are done to make us appear to be something that we are not. We are a great environmentally responsible company. Please look at the facts.
Jim Sanders.
Good evening. My name is Jim Sandless. I've lived in Seneca Falls for 31 years. I want to thank the board for proposing local law number 7. It has brought the landfill Waste Connections to the negotiating table. Every landfill has a lifespan. We are coming to the end of the lifespan in Seneca Falls. To the town board, I suggest 3 items. Negotiate a hard date to close the landfill, not a variable one. Let's get a closing date finalized and sign it with Waste Connections. Number 2, no garbage by train, period.
Yes.
Number 3, better monitoring and remedies for the ongoing stench problems. In 2023, there will be approximately 65 million tons of garbage in the landfill. That is over 10 tons for every family in the state of New York. It is time to set a closing date. Thank you.
I'd like to preface my statements by telling the audience that I know we're all community members, we're friends. Any derogatory comments made are directed at the company, the corporate Seneca Meadows, and not our friends and neighbors. I know you are working hard, and I know you are trying to control the stench at the landfill. However, I'm here tonight to speak about the necessity of eliminating any and all possible trash trains through the town and county, an end to any landfill expansion, and a timely closure of Seneca Meadows. I'm also asking that you, as our town officials, meet with the DEC, requesting them to deny a 2017 permit extension to Seneca Meadows. We should also consider filing a class action suit against the DEC and Seneca Meadows for sacrificing our community for the sake of corporate greed. My reasons, the handout I've given to you illustrates what I'm dubbing the sacrifice zone. We are living in a sacrifice zone, everyone. The DEC graphic illustrates the sad reality that our community is clearly a sacrifice zone. We are the dumping ground of our state. We are living with a mountain of other people's trash. The fact that we are receiving more than our fair share of waste, over 45% of the garbage entering our state is dumped here. And that should be enough reason to stop any and all trash trains, in addition to closing Seneca Meadows as soon as possible. We should not be expected to sacrifice health, property, and quality of life for the financial gain of the Finger Lakes Rail or Seneca Meadows. Also, as the health issue, landfills have been linked to causing certain types of cancer. According to the most recent Seneca County Community Health Assessment, cancer is the second leading cause of death among Seneca County residents. Several county cancer indicators are alarming, this is a quote, as they demonstrate higher rate than anywhere in New York State. The report goes on to say that, quote, in Seneca County, rates for all cancers are significantly above the state rate. The report does point out that the high rate of tobacco use in our county is likely to factor the high incidence of lung and bronchial cancer, but what about all the other types of cancer? I'm proposing that they're likely due to the fact that we're living in a sacrifice zone. The New York State Department of Health has published an article entitled, "Important Things to Know About Landfill Gas." The article addresses the health effects of landfill gases, stating that even short-term exposure, 2 weeks, can, quote, cause coughing, irritation of the eyes, nose, and throat, headache, nausea, and breathing difficulties. Studies have been conducted in landfill communities that reveal health issues consistent with exposure to landfill gases. The reported health complaints included eye, throat, and lung irritation, nausea, headache, nasal blockage, sleeping difficulties, weight loss, chest pain, and aggravation of asthma. The DEC and Seneca Meadows should stop asking us to sacrifice our health for other people's trash. It's obvious to almost all of us that our quality of life, and especially for our poor neighbors in Waterloo, has been very compromised. I'm going to skip that portion, but we know it to be true. Seneca Meadows is reaching its maximum point in 2023. We need to shut it down. Our host agreement ends in 2025. We have sacrificed enough. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak this evening. For the record, I'm employed in the town of Seneca Falls, and may it please the board. Last month, I spoke about all the different jobs that protect the environment at Seneca Meadows, and that job number one by the men and women of Seneca Meadows is protecting the environment. And as stewards of the environment, there is great responsibility. Well, what is also a result of these high-stakes jobs is a psyche that is built in. It is the Seneca Meadows culture to also be stewards in the community. We volunteer, we provide a hand up, we coach, we participate, we contribute every day to making this a better place to live, work, and play. I would like to see these jobs at Seneca Meadows Landfill and others like it continue to grow for a very long time. We have the best team in North America. And the facts show that our jobs at the landfill grow along with our many neighboring businesses, well-documented growth. Our footprint is in an appropriate zoned industrial neighborhood corridor. The facts are that this sound zoning policy and the associated beneficial infrastructure has encouraged and resulted in the growth of other local jobs, enabling the diversity of our healthy local economy. A hotel chain built adjacent to Seneca Meadows just a few years ago. A warehouse company purchased a building directly across the street from Seneca Meadows and also expanded existing warehouses that service the local wine industry.
Don't speak for us!
2 banks were built within the last few years. A renewable energy company has invested tens of millions of dollars that have resulted in reduced energy costs for local schools. A wetlands preserve has become a tourist destination for birders to visit from all over the world. And a railway just expanded to help local farmers expand their product reach all over the world. For the record,
the audience, 1 second, Mark, I'll give you extended time. I'm asking the audience not to react to the speaker. We treat all speakers respectively. Thank you. I will have people removed from this meeting if that continues. Go ahead, Mark.
Thank you, Supervisor Lazaro. For the record, these are the facts. Seneca Meadows jobs are good for the community, and they are good for our neighbors. Again, thank you for your time.
Mr. Randy Bruno.
Hello, my name is Randy Bruno, and I would like to thank each and every one of you for the opportunity to speak here on this important matter. As a resident of Seneca County and an employee of Seneca Meadows, we here that support Seneca Meadows are not here just because we work here. We are here for everyone. All of us that work at Seneca Meadows take our jobs serious and take every step to ensure that every day nothing is done half-stepped and is completed to the fullest. Across the board, Seneca Meadows staff and company goes above and beyond the requirements to protect our environment and to give back to the community. Closing the landfill will be the biggest economic disruption, not only to Seneca Falls, but to Seneca County as well. I ask you all here to think about what increase of a tax hike this district will have if you close the landfill right now. Seneca Meadows provides over $2 million a year just to the town of Seneca Falls. That money goes to schools, sports, and other programs. And I also want you to think about the impact it will have on all first responders, police, fire department, and what about the ambulance building? Also closing the landfill, it will leave a surplus of valuable talent that will either have to leave the county or will be added to a very long list of unemployment. Are you, as a part of Seneca County, ready to support me and my family, which consists of my wife and 3 kids and a newborn on the way in August of this year? What about everyone else that works there? They have families. Are you ready to take on the burden of taking care of them as well? So I want you to please think long and hard about local law number 7. Say no. You don't want it. You don't want the cause and the effect it would leave on the families, taxes, and our community. Once again, I thank you for the opportunity to let me speak, not only as a member of Seneca County, but as an employee of Seneca Meadows Landfill.
Good job, Randy.
Hi, my name is Nigel Martin. Hi, my name is Nigel Martin. I'm from Triple M Tire in Lockport, New York. We're a family-owned business that recycles tires from all of upstate New York. We have a very good business relationship with Seneca Meadows and rely heavily on the landfill consuming our product as they expand. Seneca Meadows landfill no longer needs our product. This will have a major economic impact on our community and force many layoffs of hardworking employees. We are just one of the vendors that are hundreds of miles away from Seneca Meadows. This will also leave hundreds of customers in upstate New York with no options for tire recycling, which Seneca Meadows landfill currently facilitates. Please take into consideration the many positive business impacts that Seneca Meadows landfill has with small and family-owned businesses that are hundreds of miles away from Seneca Falls.
Thank you. Susan Carter.
Hi, my name is Susan Porter and I live in Seneca Falls. Thank you, Seneca Falls Town Board members, for the opportunity to speak and for your service during this highly emotional and politicized time. Despite the apparent scrapping of the trash train proposal for now, I still firmly believe town leaders should be working towards a firm and binding end date for the Seneca Meadows landfill. I liken the relationship between the town and landfill to a failed marriage. At first, there was mutual enamored feelings and a showering of gifts. Then complacency set in, with little questioning or attention paid to the other. Now there is unhealthy dependence, mistrust, intimidation, and the realization that the two parties' values don't really match. It's time for a separation. I do not know all the details of current discussions, but I do believe our town leaders should be committed to a firm closure date and proactive financial plan for life without the landfill. We can't kick this problem down the pike forever. It has been mentioned that the town is in the midst of renegotiating a community host agreement. I am of the opinion that the current agreement date of 2025 should not be extended.
I would also ask the town to, 1, share with the community an accurate financial impact, ideally prepared by an independent third party. Transparency and detailed numbers are crucial, as people are scared and impressionable about how life without the landfill will look and affect their wallets. 2, consider passing a local law banning landfills. I understand there may be hesitation to do so now without enough time to prepare for the financial implications, but it seems to me such a local law is the only guarantee we have. The current community host agreement notes that the landfill reserves the right to operate even absent a host agreement. 3, press the DEC to hold its permit extension hearing as soon as possible in Seneca Falls, so area residents most affected can share concerns and ask their questions. Seneca Meadows is a business, and its allegiance is to its bottom line and shareholders. We must realize that waste disposal is a big business with frequent ownership changes. Whatever Seneca Meadows general and regional managers say today could change in the future, however sincere they are at the moment. We must chart our own destiny. We cannot pin our hopes on assurances from Seneca Meadows or state or federal permitting agencies. We must use the leverage we have when it comes to landfill violations and a firm closure date. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jim Fabrizio. I work for Casings Incorporated. Casings is a family-owned and operated tire recycling company based in Catskill, New York. We've been in business since 1973. Currently, we have offices in Houston, Newark, Altoona, Pennsylvania, and Long Island. We handle approximately 7 million discarded tires per year, probably 75% coming from New York. 20% of these tires are resold overseas and domestically as used tires. The balance is shredded and used in several applications such as fuel, septic drainage, crumb rubber, new liners for landfills, and also daily cover for landfills. Currently, with the relatively low cost of fuel and with the record mild winter, the market for tire-derived fuel has completely collapsed. So we have gone from charging a nominal fee for it to having to pay to dispose of it. With profit margins already thin, this has put a severe financial strain on our company. Having a relationship with Seneca Meadows Landfill has gone a great way to helping us stay viable. We have contracted with them to bring in shredded tires, which is a beneficial use for them, is good for Casings, and ultimately good for New York State. Casings Inc. employs approximately 90 people who live and work and pay taxes in New York. Casings itself pays in excess of $250,000 a year in local and state taxes, as well as permits, fees, truck registration, etc. If we were to go out of business, not only would all this tax revenue be lost, but our employees may well end up on public assistance. Further, and just as important, the 7 million tires a year that we take out of the waste stream will mostly have nowhere to go and may well end up in illegal dumps. If the landfill were closed, it would have a negative ripple effect that would be felt far outside of this community. Thank you.
Good evening. Kyle Black. I'm the district manager at the Seneca Falls landfill and live in the town of Waterloo. I'd like to thank the board for the opportunity to speak tonight, as well as give everyone in the audience the ability to speak. It's a long and arduous process, but back to Mr. Lawley's statements, it's the American way. That's why it's great to live in this country. I just want to give a quick update on our odor control efforts. The additional gas wells that we've installed and the additional intermediate cover that we put down are starting to yield very positive results. Our odor complaints are down from our peak in March over 48% and continue to fall. Our odor work will continue to be our priority to protect both the environment and this community. and we will continue to work with Seneca Energy to turn this renewable resource into electricity and natural gas. We are evaluating our final cover bids and hope to award that work soon. So you'll be seeing the western expansion get the final cover completion we promised the community. We will be at the forum that Greg has promised, Mr. Lazaro has promised. We've talked with him and we've talked with the board, and we will be there to answer questions. As always, we've had an open door policy. We continue to have an open door policy, and more than happy to have anybody out to go over any issues that they have with the landfill. I personally will see that that's done. I'd like to yield the rest of my time to remaining speakers, as there are many. And again, I would like to thank the board for this opportunity.
I'd like to thank the board for the opportunity to speak today on behalf of Seneca Meadows Landfill. My name is John O'Brien. I'm the Vice President of NCM Odor and Dust Control. You know, I encourage you guys to really go out and take a look at our website. It is ncmodorcontrol.com. Really like to take the time for you guys to look at that, get the information that you say that you have not been provided, because it's available on the web. I've been an active part of the landfill operation since 2003 when I first joined the solid waste industry. I've spent many nights at local hotels and restaurants around the area. We've always supported Seneca Meadows Landfill in their role of being the best neighbor that they could possibly be. Being in the odor control business has opened up many doors for our company to help out with landfill odors associated with the trash we all throw into our cans. Seneca Meadows has always gone above and beyond when dealing with odors. I've spent many weekends away from my family to pitch in and help out where we can, especially during the town fair there, right on the backside of the landfill. There's big impacts on closing a landfill. Most importantly, as we all spoke about this evening, are the jobs. We are all Americans in the land of opportunity, some beneficial and some not so much. However, people depend upon local businesses to survive. My company in particular could feel the effects of losing a customer like Seneca Meadows in the toughest economy that many of us had to deal with in our lifetime. Again, I encourage those with questions to please visit the website at any time, and please feel free to contact myself at ncmodorcontrol.john@gmail.com. And again, thank you for the time this evening.
Thank you.
Good evening. I want to thank the board for the opportunity to speak tonight. My name is Karen Rothfuss. I am a concerned citizen of Seneca County, have been for many years, and I live in Waterloo. There's been a lot of coverage in the news about addiction, the problem of heroin and opiates, how its dependence wreaks havoc with people's lives. The need for the drug is too great. Unfortunately, there's been less coverage of another form of addiction, the addiction to landfill money, and the effect it has on our quality of life, how it diminishes our opportunities for new economic development, and how it impacts our sense of pride and happiness we have within our community. It also divides our community. Let me say that again. It also divides our community. Money has that kind of power. I was in Fairport, New York about a month ago, visiting a store at the Fairport Landing Plaza. It was a lovely day. So the store had its front door propped open so all the people walking by could walk in and out easily. It was just letting some nice fresh air in. Well, at the counter, I heard a train. Shortly after, I noted a strong smell of garbage. I then realized it was a trash train hauling sealed containers of days old, maybe a week old, garbage from New York City to High Acres landfill in Macedon. So don't let anyone out there tell you those sealed containers don't stink, because they do. I don't think for one moment that the trash by train deal is dead. And if any of you have seen how the landfill negotiates to get what they want today, and then they'll charge forward with what they want tomorrow. Despite any promises they might make now, Waste Management, SMI, and Finger Lakes Rail are rubbing their hands together, thinking about all the money they're going to make hauling trash to Seneca Falls by train. I called in an odor complaint to the landfill last Friday at 8:55 a.m. I hardly ever get in my yard. I live on the far side of Waterloo, but I did smell it was very strong. It made me feel physically ill, literally nauseous. When a smell is bad enough to cause a feeling of nausea, I have to think that there is something very unhealthy in the air. A fellow from the landfill came to my home, a very nice man, and we had a conversation. This is kind of going off script, but you know, I emphasized to him that we didn't have a problem with the employees. It's just that the landfill cannot control its odors. Anyway, he came to my home. He got there about 35 minutes later to check on it. I haven't been 3 minutes. Okay, the smell was no longer there. The wind had shifted. The wind shift doesn't mean the odor was gone. It just means that now someone else is smelling it. He admitted it is hard to control the odor during the day when the landfill is receiving garbage, as daily cover isn't done until the day's end. But you see, it is during the day that we are all out and about, living our lives, children playing in their yards. The presence of this landfill does not mesh with the quality of life we all desire.
Okay, you have to wrap it up.
I urgently ask the board to seek every means to tap every resource to find a way to end its dependence on this landfill money. The time to stop it is now. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the chance to speak. My name is Patricia Rodriguez. I'm a professor of politics at Ithaca College, and although I'm not residing in this county, I hope to one day. And I have also accompanied for the past 4 years the work of many citizens from this county. The work that they do daily to defend the town, the region, from the health and environmental impact from this huge landfill. Now, with the merger, there is even more of a threat. It is likely that the landfill intends to continue to expand and to spread its influence not only over local decisions regarding land use, zoning, and short-sighted economic developments that will affect populations here for years or decades to come, but also that there continue to be influence from these corporations at the regional and national level. I'm not going to add much of the details because you guys know this much better than me, but I wanted to talk a little bit about the research that I do, and it pertains to what's called neo-extractivism, especially in Latin America, but this happens all over the world. And so I've seen the impact of mining, especially, but also of waste from mining on communities that have been displaced forcibly and non-forcibly due to contamination. Here in this region, it's not mining, but certainly there's mining in other areas, and one day that waste may well end up here, where other toxic materials coming from diverse locations from far or close. Although in many cases in Latin America, the same psychological warfare is seen from powerful corporations that come with a discourse of convincing populations that the waste and mining projects, are inevitable, that resistance is futile, I've also seen many cases of communities, indigenous communities, campesinos, ethnic groups, defeating companies in getting permits for their mega projects, even here in the US. Many communities blocking corporate presence around, for instance, in Lake Superior, just one example. Also, I see communities creating alternatives together, collectively, coming together for a better world and environment. And Local Law 7 that seeks to restrict the expansion and the prevention of landfills for the future seems to open that space for creative solutions and to encourage clean businesses to establish their businesses here. Please support this law.
Keenan Baldridge.
Good evening, and thanks for giving me a chance to speak to you tonight. I'm Keenan Baldridge. I'm the supervisor of the Town of Rose, north on 414. Town of Rose has a drinking water system that services over 600 households, 3 large farms, 2 schools with hundreds of kids in them, a food product plant, and numerous smaller businesses. We rely on clean, pure water. It's essential for our existence, and we regard it as a regional resource, not merely a local resource, as we also supply the county water system in part to help out neighboring towns. I'm concerned about the landfill. I smelled it on the way in tonight. Landfill is only a parking place for trash. It's not really a solution. Apparently we park it there so that our grandchildren will have the opportunity to figure out what to do with it. I'm concerned about leakage and liner failure. Anything that's engineered by man can fail. And if that crud gets down into the groundwater, we'll never get it out. And it's all coming our way. As you make your deliberations, I hope that you'll please consider the broad view, the regional view, and take the long term in your decision making. I understand the landfill is engineered and is regulated by the DEC, but I would leave you with this thought. The SS Titanic met all government safety regulations, and the Space Shuttle Challenger was designed by experts. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. My name is Michael Warren Thomas. I live in the Finger Lakes region, specifically Rochester. Thank you for the opportunity to speak at this historic meeting of the Seneca Falls Town Board, and especially the chance to directly address the employees of Seneca Meadows Landfill. In the next several months, the Town Board will have to choose between 2 very different visions of the future. First, you could choose to continue the current path, accepting 6,000 tons of trash from New York City, mainly, and elsewhere for the next several decades. Or you could choose to shut this landfill down at the earliest possible date. There is probably no way to avoid the feeling that this debate is personal, that all the thousands, and I'm speaking to the employees there, this is not personal to you. It feels that way, I'm certain it does, but this is about the company that you work for and the future of this region. I regret that. I believe that all the Seneca Meadows employees have a bright future in this region. But with the solar industry, adding hundreds of new jobs this year, the casino opening, the wine and beer industry booming, while you, the employees and families of Seneca Meadows, are probably livid right now that your livelihoods are being threatened. There are some key things that Seneca Meadows is not telling you. I hope you'll put aside your anger and listen to the bigger picture. The 80 to 100 jobs at Seneca Meadows are limiting the development of tens of thousands of jobs in the Finger Lakes region. How can that be? Exit 41 of the Thruway and Route 441 are the key gateway for 20 million people in the Northeast, to the hottest wine region this side of the Rocky Mountains. The towns of Seneca Falls and Waterloo could be much more vibrant tourist destinations, but not with the plume of odor that accompanies such a massive landfill. It's coming in that door right now. 3 of the best winemakers in the world have invested in the Finger Lakes, specifically Seneca Lake. They've invested millions already because they see the potential for this region, and their investments will attract hundreds of millions more. They were not lured here with tax incentives. It was the worldwide acclaim for Finger Lakes wines which got their attention. Times are changing quickly in the Finger Lakes, and the wine region is light years ahead of where it was in 2007 when the last landfill permit was negotiated. Wineries have approximately doubled in number since 2007. If you work for Seneca Meadows, I encourage you to pursue a job in the solar industry or another industry which has a bright future in this region, so you can tell your children and grandchildren that you helped revitalize these historic towns. Seneca Meadows can spin their tall tales of how garbage dumps don't hurt tourism and property values, but I hope you can see this Texas-Canadian company is only looking to pad their profits. 65 million people live within a day's drive of the Finger Lakes. Let's have them bring their money rather than just send their trash.
All right.
Mr. Rauscher?
Unlike these other speakers, I was really hoping Nikki wouldn't let me speak. But she said, you're number 33, Dave. I've been through this a couple times because I've been in the waste industry about 38 years. We have a rather large landfill not far from our house where I grew up. And it divides communities. And there's a reason it does that, because everybody doesn't have the same opinion. But what's probably most important for everyone here is to get the facts. Know how it affects everybody on both sides of the issue. Because that's really, really important to everyone here and everyone that didn't. I could go on. We work for Seneca Meadows. We've worked very hard trying to help them with their odor issue. Sometimes I say, thank God it happened, because our gas industry died deader than a doornail down in Pennsylvania and New York. You know how that goes with Democratic governors. But anyways, besides all that.
We can't hear you back here.
Oh, I'm sorry. But I just want to make sure that everyone hears what the other side is saying, know how it affects each other. I know nobody wants a stink in their house. I don't want it in my business or my house. And I don't think these people intended that to happen, but it did. And I do believe they're making a strong effort to improve it. You've got to give them a chance to at least do that. I'm going to end with that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Ed Thurston.
Good evening. My name is Ed Thurston. I've lived in Seneca Falls all my life. I'm in the construction business and own my own company, and I currently employ 27 people. Over the years, I have worked with the Seneca Meadows landfill, and I appreciate the service they bring to the community and the sound partnerships they have developed. Their health and safety record in a business that is highly regulated has been excellent. They have a host agreement with the community that has helped us grow and remain financially stable. They give to many non-for-profits in our community that's helped these organizations remain solvent. Please do not vote for the proposed local law, as this will hurt our community, many of our businesses, and our non-for-profits, which help and assist our most needy in our society. Thank you.
Will O'Lee.
I'm Will O'Lean, the founding secretary of the Finger Lakes Wine Business Coalition, a member organization over 150 businesses throughout the 11-lake Finger Lakes region. Also the winemaker and owner of Oneida Vineyard and Eagle Crest Vineyards, which has been in operation for 144 years. It's taken us nearly a century and a half in the Finger Lakes to be recognized as a serious tourist destination around the world. For maybe the first 100 years, we made wine out of Niagara and Concord, which European settlers figured would give us brain cancer and other birth defects if we drank it as wine. Thankfully, over the last 20 or 25 years, with the influx of young people who are studying viticulture and enology, we're attracting the youth to our area, and the wine region is thriving. We're doubling, and now we have 80 breweries in the Finger Lakes. We have distilleries, we have bed and breakfast, restaurants, small farms, renewable energy solutions, accountants, lawyers, and light industry that support those businesses. Tonight I want to talk directly to the people of Seneca Meadows landfill. We're all the people of the Finger Lakes. I'm from Hemlock Lake. It's a phenomenal example of a beautiful gem of a lake in our state. There are many jobs in the Finger Lakes. There are many good paying jobs in the Finger Lakes. There are healthy jobs in the Finger Lakes. The Finger Lakes was chosen last year as the world's greatest destination for tourists. People are coming from all over the world, and $6 billion and 25,000 jobs. Not 100 jobs. 25,000 jobs and growing are what our region is. It's our way of life. The Haudenosaunee people, otherwise known as the Iroquois, were stewards of this land. There were 6 warring tribes. They figured out how to come together around a tree of peace in Onondaga, put their warring ways apart, and live sustainably for generations together, even though they had differences of opinion. So on behalf of the Finger Lakes Wine Business Coalition, we'd like to ask the board tonight to realize Seneca Falls can either be the pride of our region, the home of women's rights, the home of Memorial Day, or it could be the pariah, ruining what we've worked for a century and a half to build. This is not just a decision that affects you, this affects generations of people that have worked a century and a half to build a way of life. And we welcome all of you into that way of life. Thank you. Please.
Good evening. My name is Jeff Shipley. I'm the president of the Seneca County Chamber of Commerce, among the region's largest business advocacy organizations, located here in the town of Seneca Falls. Additionally, for the record, I am also a resident of Seneca County and a homeowner in the town of Waterloo. I am here tonight to discuss the proposed local law number 7, also known as the Town of Seneca Falls Waste Disposal Law. As an aside, this is also the first time I've addressed this board in our historic town. As you are well aware, approximately 150 years ago, the first Women's Rights Convention occurred just a few steps from where we are tonight and featured the Declaration of Sentiments, a noteworthy document that proclaimed all men and women are created equal. It is in that same spirit that the Chamber contends all businesses are created equal and should be treated accordingly under the rules and regulations enacted and enforced by the town of Seneca Falls and its neighboring municipalities. To single out a particular industry or business in the fashion that the proposed law prescribes defies this equality concept and sends a contradictory and alarming message to potential business development opportunities that Seneca Falls and Seneca County is decidedly not open for business. Furthermore, it fosters an unhealthy and uncooperative business environment, not to mention our town's economic viability and sustainability. As the proposed law accurately points out, the town of Seneca Falls is a good place to live and work, in part because of the clean air, fresh water, cultural, historic attractions that are available in and around town. We are, in fact, proud of the town's importance and prominence within the world-renowned Finger Lakes tourism region. Speaking as someone with more than a decade of experience in marketing this region as a destination for tourism, I can adamantly convey to you tonight that the tourism industry is as strong or stronger than it's ever been and has consistently grown and thrived since the late 70s, despite the presence of a large solid waste management operation in the town of Seneca Falls. I commend all of you for your dedication and commitment to serving the residents and the businesses of our community. I acknowledge that there are divergent opinions on the nature of the waste disposal industry, but urge each of you, as well as the public, to put aside emotion and work towards a mutually beneficial strategy that affords the town, both the town and a member of its valued business community, with the necessary time and resources to adequately plan for the future, free from unnecessary and overly aggressive mandates. Thank you for the opportunity to convey these thoughts.
Mr. Gene Pierce.
My name is Gene Pierce. I have the honor and pleasure of serving as the board chair of the Seneca County Chamber of Commerce, an organization that currently has, I believe, over 300 members. As you can imagine, an organization with 300 members has a lot of different ideas, thoughts, and opinions. But one thing that we are all in agreement and with is our mission statement. And I'd like to read that. Seneca County Chamber of Commerce will be a dynamic, proactive business voice that provides information, initiative, connectivity, and leadership. Some elements of this mission include providing initiative and leadership to promote the economic interests of Seneca County, raise awareness of business, tourism, quality of life in Seneca County, provide a forum for discussion for business issues, and to build consensus so that the county can better compete and grow. To that end, as Jeff pointed out, we are a business-oriented organization. We would encourage you to look at the facts, the figures, recognizing that we're not only looking at perhaps one business today, or perhaps other businesses in the future. And we as a county need to always consider facts, figures. Emotions certainly weigh into it. Facts and figures should really be the decision makers as we go forward. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Carl Farney. I own Farney Trucking LLC. I'd just like to say I'm against local law number 7, and I'm for Seneca Meadows and their employees. Thank you very much.
Chad Harvin, thank you for letting me speak to you tonight. Appreciate it. Worked for Seneca Metals for 17 years. Started out as a laborer, heavy equipment operator now. Everything we do is not just a job to support our family. It's a good income. I've supported a family of about 6. It's also a lifestyle. I've supported a family of 6. It's not just a job, it's a lifestyle. Everybody I work with takes great pride in what we do because it's never wrong. It's 100% right at the end of the day. There's been no ground contaminants, water contaminants, air pollution to record to date. Nobody's ever been sick from it. And it's because of the great care and quality of work that me and my fellow employees do on a daily basis. Thank you.
Dennis Wick.
My name is Dennis Wick. I've
lived in Seneca Falls my whole life. I just started at Seneca Meadows. I've been there about 6 months. I never really knew, what all went into the work we do there, but everything Chad said and many other people, it's remarkable. I mean, we do everything by the book. You people talk about just whoever said, 100 employees or so. It's a lot more than that. You got to look at the trucking companies. You got to look at the fuel bills for these trucking companies. Restaurants, mechanics. There's a lot of businesses around here, small businesses, big businesses, that will lose a lot of money, potentially go under. Everybody continues to talk about the wineries. They're still opening new wineries to this day. So I don't know what impact it's had, but they're still coming here. Thank you very much.
Scott Knowlton? Knowlton, I'm sorry.
That's perfect. Scott Knowlton, I've worked at the landfill for many years. I don't support your law. I am definitely for Seneca Meadows. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Kim Kruger?
Give me a second there, boss.
Mr. Kim Kruger.
Hi, y'all. Kim Kruger, worked at Seneca Meadows for 5 years. Closer, sorry. And thanks for letting me talk here and all that. I think everybody's got some kind of an interest in this meeting, and I don't agree with all of it, and I'm sure nobody here does agree with all of it. What I'd like to say is I'm a Christian, and I hope God just helps you decide whatever you need here. Thank you.
Is Barb Reese?
My name is Barb Reese, and I live in the town of Seneca Falls. On May 3rd, you introduced local law number 7, which, if adopted, would restrict the operation of solid waste management facilities in the town of Seneca Falls. As is evident here tonight, there is great concern about additional impacts this local law would have on our town. Concerns about our taxes and economy are valid, and further study is needed. The purpose of local law number 7 is to protect the health, safety, and welfare of the residents. I urge you to consider adoption of this law in some form for the following reasons. The landfill, in operation since 1973, has grown significantly in the last 15 years, leaving over 51 million tons of waste in our town. According to Seneca Meadows' 2015 annual report, over 44 million tons have been placed since the year 2000. In 2015, over 36 million gallons of primary leachate was collected. The waste is here forever and is predicted to produce over 6 million gallons of leachate annually 40 years from now. Putting this much waste so close to residences, schools, and other businesses in the towns of Seneca Falls and Waterloo allows odors to travel off-site and invade our homes, schools, and workplaces. In March, there were over 230 odor complaints filed with Seneca Meadows. In April, there were still over 200. The Village of Waterloo just hosted a wonderful Memorial Day celebration, including a 5K race, but it smelled like garbage. The landfill is in a bad location. Seneca Meadows continues to plan for a long future here. In March, Seneca Meadows submitted its application to the DEC for a Part 360 permit renewal and asked for the maximum permissible term. There is indeed room for more trash. 500 acres are zoned as M2 landfill use, and within the property sits the 26-acre Tantello site, which was a hazardous waste site from 1958 to 1975. The site was reclassified by the DEC as Class 4 in May 2009. However, once it's determined to be stable, this will likely be the site of a new landfill section. Our town is home to the largest landfill in northeastern United States, accepting waste from 47 of 62 counties in New York State, 5 other states, and Canada. In 2015, Seneca County contributed just 1.2% of the 2.2 million tons of trash that was placed there. There must be a better future for Seneca Falls than to continue accepting trash from everyone else. Seneca Meadows has a plan, but what is our plan? The only certain way is to adopt a law that would protect the health, safety, and welfare of the people. Please find a way to make it possible.
Good evening, everyone. I live here in Seneca Falls. I've worked at Seneca Meadows for 26 years. I'm against your local law. Thank you.
Thank you. Mike Solar.
Hi, my name is Michael Solar. I would like to thank Seneca Meadows for donating the pitching machines to the Waterloo Little League fields. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Mike Solar. I reside in Waterloo. I worked at the landfill for 13 years. I'd like to ask this group, what would you accomplish by closing Seneca Meadows? Name one company that does as much as Seneca Meadows does for our community and all of us. Name one. There isn't one.
Bonadan.
Who's going to pick up the tab? It's our Waterloo container.
Mr. Solar, just make a statement, please.
We always hear from the concerned citizen group that Seneca Meadows does not care. This is so far from the truth. It's the other way around. Are you going to care about the employees and the families and the rest of the community that's going to be affected by that? No. There's two things in this room that everybody can agree on. Seneca Meadows is a great company and it smells. But I bet you this, I promise you this, it's going to get better. Last thing I got to say, I'd be damned if I let Seneca Meadows stop me from enjoying life. Oh, one more thing. Sorry. You got 3 minutes, you're all right. 350 to 400 of our neighbors came last month to March Day. And they had to pass by me to get to that march. And every one of them thanked me and told me what a great job that Seneca Meadows does for our community. Our neighbors, 350 to 400. August 21st, open house, everybody's welcome. Thank you.
Hello to all. I'll try to keep this short. Let me start by saying my name is Ken Lisk. I'm a local taxpayer, a veteran, a sportsman, and a 15-year employee at Seneca Meadows. I've lived here all my life. I remember the heydays of Seneca Falls when Sylvania's, Seneca Knit, Seneca Machine, the Army Depot, Matthews, etc., were booming, and jobs were plentiful, and life was good. And now today, we're here discussing tossing good-paying jobs away because to boil things down, we just experienced the mildest winter I can remember that ultimately led to the unforeseen events of the adverse smells, which has been aggressively dealt with and continues to be aggressively dealt with. Or is it the train situation, which was the only viable option to trucks, of which you expressed a distaste for? The answers aren't black and white, I guess. But one thing I do know is raising taxes and lack of above average paying jobs in our area are taking their tolls as apparent by lower school enrollments, i.e. closings or consolidations, rising taxes, and our median age of our town residents can only mean that our children have to leave to find lives elsewhere, of which I'm not immune. My own daughter and grandchildren, school-age grandchildren, are leaving next month to find lives elsewhere. So I ask you to consider the pros and cons of your decisions and to consider all the good, not just the bad, that Seneca Meadows has had on our community. from the community center, library, Habitat for Humanity, backpack program, county fireworks, Vincent's Park, Love Eco Trail, Little League, i.e. On the local level. This is all on the local level. To the sportsman's end of things, from Ducks Unlimited, NWTF, National Wild Turkey Federation, Federation of Sportsmen's Clubs, the Montezuma Wildlife Complex, to the veteran end of things, to donating directly to the Wounded Warrior Project, which I'm a major part of in this local town. And I wonder how many other Seneca County businesses can lay claim to these facts. Yes, we may have erred on a few things, but it's my belief that we have risen to the occasion much more, and I hope that maybe at least a few people may open their thoughts just a little bit. And our business, just like any other business, relies on out-of-the-area vendors or buyers to be competitive and or successful. Imagine if we only sold dentures, bottles, and pumps in Seneca Falls. How successful would we be?
Good evening. My name is Michelle LeBrun. I'm a Seneca Falls resident for 25 years and I'm raising my family here. What does community mean to all of you? Community is defined as a group of people living in the same place or having a particular characteristic in common, a feeling of fellowship with others as a result of sharing common attitudes, interests, and goals. My definition of community is people in this room. We have come together because we deeply care about an issue, and that is the landfill. The landfill causes many stresses on a community. The massive size of the landfill mountains cause emotional, physical, and psychological stress. What the landfill contains, what it emits to the air, the soil, and the water causes environmental stress. New businesses will not relocate here or start here, so this causes economic development stress. Social stress is caused because young families and our own children will not relocate here, but rather to cleaner, greener spaces. The landfill causes stress on Finger Lakes tourism as visitors get off Thruway Exit 41 and have to pass by the landfill's monstrosity. The landfill causes real estate stress as property values continue to plummet and decline. There are decades of greed stress from the landfill's luring effect of giving to a community while taking away quality of life. These stresses are a travesty for any community to handle. The opposition to the landfill has never been about people who work at the landfill. Hardworking people making a living, putting food on their tables, supporting a family, saving for college educations, just like everyone else in this community. The landfill is not a local business. It's now a Canadian and Texan company. The owners do not live here. They are not worried about our welfare. Are they concerned about the people that work at the landfill? What are they being exposed to? What are you being exposed to? What is the quality of the air you breathe? If any employee endures irreversible health issues because of working in such an environment, will the owners endure and suffer regret as well? We are a community. It extends beyond our zip code. People are watching and waiting. Let us lead by example. That is why the landfill must close. Landfills have start dates and expiration dates. No extensions, no expansions, no permits in 2017, no future trash trains. 6,000 tons of trash a day is insurmountable, unacceptable, and unconscionable. And the DEC, instead of giving the landfill a permit in 2017, give them their expiration date to end in 2023. Not too many people get 7 years advance notice to tell them that their job is at risk. This gives everyone time to get a backup plan. And here's a thought. Seneca Meadows landfill, or whatever your latest name is, cap the mountains of trash, fill your footprint with not 6,000 tons of trash per day, but state-of-the-art compost facility and recycling center. Change your footprint and change it now. Your employees will continue to have jobs. Let's all be a good community of like-minded change. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Dr. Joseph Campbell, and I'm the president of Gas Free Seneca and Seneca Lake Guardian, an affiliate of the Waterkeeper Alliance. For the past 5.5 years, we've been working to protect Seneca Lake, and by extension, the entire Finger Lakes region, from the threat of industrialization by a Houston, Texas-based predatory oil and gas corporation on the south end of Seneca Lake. We represent nearly 400 businesses across the Finger Lakes and helped 31 municipalities representing 1.2 million New York residents draft resolutions opposing gas storage. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the town of Seneca Falls for being one of those. Let me quote from your resolution. Whereas the town board is keenly aware of the role played by Seneca Lake in providing drinking water to a large segment of the population of Seneca as well as other counties, Seneca Lake's designation as a scenic byway, its role as a recreational asset and in promotion of area tourism, and it goes on in that like manner. Clearly, Seneca Meadows is a threat of the same kind on the north end of Seneca Lake. Others have already stated the detrimental effects that Seneca Meadows already has on the community and tourism. I know that it was a different administration that allowed the landfill into the town. I wonder if they envisioned the behemoth it would ultimately become, and if asked, would they permit it all over again? I sincerely hope not. In a recent letter to the Finger Lakes Times, the author wrote that the landfill was already here and that we should make the most of it. The only part of that letter I agree with is this: not only is the landfill already here, but the landfill is here forever. Despite the assurances of Seneca Meadows and the DEC, and despite their best efforts to mitigate the impacts of the landfill, the fact is, nothing made by humans lasts forever. All liners fail. It's a question of when, not if. And when this one fails, what happens when that plume of toxic carcinogenic compounds contaminates the groundwater in Seneca Lake? What kind of toxic legacy is that to leave future generations? As I already said, it was a different administration that permitted this abomination into the region. This board has a historic opportunity to do the right thing. It is your privilege and your duty to end this nightmare. Let's tell Mayor Bill de Blasio that just as we don't intend to become the sacrifice zone for the gas industry, we are done being the sacrifice zone for New York City's garbage. I urge this board to do the right thing for your constituents, for the community, for Seneca Lake, and for the future of the Finger Lakes region. I urge you to adopt local law number 7. Thank you very much.
Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak today. My name is Ken Gallagher, and I'm a project manager for CHA Consultants. And I'm here today to urge the town board not to enact local law number 7. I'm an urban and environmental planner with over 40 years of experience. 35 of those years have been spent in the solid waste business, working for clients, municipalities, agencies. And I'm proud to say that over that time, our waste management system in New York has evolved from past practices of open dumps, unabated contamination, to one where waste is minimized. Materials that were once considered waste are now been recovered for recycling, and where non-recyclable waste is disposed of in a cost-effective and environmentally sound manner, like at facilities like Seneca Meadows. Since the early 1980s, we went from having 1,800 largely unregulated dump sites in this state to the 27 active municipal solid waste landfills we have today. These 27 facilities, including Seneca Meadows, are subject to the DEC regulations, as you know, and those regulations are among the strongest solid waste regulations in the country. The enactment of the proposed local law number 7 would result in the premature termination of the Seneca Meadows facility operation and the benefits its environmental infrastructure provides to this community and to the entire region. My colleague Jason Gorman is going to speak later, also in opposition to the local law, and I'm in full agreement with his remarks. I'm not going to repeat them. But enactment of this law will likely have an adverse consequence for the CHA staff that are engaged in construction oversight and certification at the Seneca Meadows landfill, and they live locally. And of course, these same adverse economic impacts will be visited on all the employees of Seneca Meadows and all of the local contractors you've heard from this evening. I'm proud to be associated with the Seneca Meadows landfill, having served as a consultant for over 20 years. And in my experience, the Seneca Meadows landfill is one of the best designed and operated facilities in New York State, if not the entire country. I'm not the only one who thinks this. You might be aware that Seneca Meadows landfill was the recipient of the Golden Excellence Award for Landfill Management from the Solid Waste Association of North America in 2012. A SWANA Excellence Award recognizes outstanding facility design and outstanding facilities with environmentally and economically sound practices. Seneca Meadows landfill provides critical disposal capacity for New York State and the Finger Lakes region in particular. The loss of this disposal capacity will have serious repercussions both within the region and for the state as a whole. Seneca Meadows provides, by my calculations, 45% of the average annual disposal capacity by the local 8-county region, including Seneca County, that surrounds the area. And on average, Seneca County accepts nearly 50,000 tons of solid waste and bud materials from Seneca County. That's 84% of the total quantity of materials. I'll end my presentation. I thank you again for the opportunity and urge the members to vote against this proposal.
Hello, and thank you for allowing me to speak in support of Seneca Meadows landfill and against local law 7. My name is Jason Gorman, and I'm a professional engineer with 17 years of experience in solid waste. I am the certifying engineer for the construction of landfill cells at Seneca Meadows and oversee a team of inspectors that ensure the construction meets and exceeds New York State Part 360 regulations that govern solid waste in New York State. Protection of the environment is SMI's highest priority, as exhibited by their excellent compliance record and commitment to the environmental initiatives. I can attest that the landfill cells at Seneca Meadows meet and exceed the highest industry standards and regulations to protect the environment. Enactment of this law will have significant adverse impacts to the local employment of more than 5 of our construction inspectors and engineers that live in this community. This law will have an impact on local motels and restaurants that are frequented by additional personnel that support our inspection team. I urge the members of the town board to vote against this proposed law to save local employment of our inspection team and all those that work and support Seneca Meadows. Thank you.
Brenda here. Seth Greathouse.
I'm Seth Greathouse. I am for the landfill and against local law number 7. Thank you.
Anne-Marie Heinsman.
Hello, I'm Anne-Marie Heisman. I am the Seneca County Farm Bureau President. I am not here to talk about the landfill. I'm here to ask that you review Local Law 7 with the New York State Department of Agriculture. The law also provides grave consequences for agriculture in this town. And due to those grave consequences, we are asking that you have the Department of Agriculture and Markets do a local law review before you move any further with this law. Thank you.
Thank you. Pamela Lewis.
Hi, thank you for letting me speak tonight. My name is Pam Lewis. I also work at Seneca Meadows. I have been there for 5 years, but I have lived in Seneca Falls for 15 years, so I am a local taxpayer. I live in Seneca Falls with my husband and my 3 children. I don't feel like I should have to be pushed out of my job because I don't want to lose my benefits. I don't want to lose a good paying job, and I don't want to have to go find a job at a casino where I may make less money than I make now. It's not easy to find a good job. I work for a good company. I work with good people. I'm proud of the job that I have, and I'm proud to work with people that I work with. Everybody's so concerned about the environment and air quality and the health concerns, but we're all healthy. We don't have health concerns. I think we should be, if we're so concerned about water pollution, why are we not worried about the agricultural effects that are going on? That is spread directly into the ground. So the fertilizers spread directly into your water supply. Why is no one concerned with that? We're not discussing that right now. We're worried about something that may never happen. The liners, you're talking about something that may never occur. As far as, if I lose my job, I may not have the ability to afford my home if the taxes go up high enough. I may have to move out of this community and look for something elsewhere. And I don't feel like I should have to make that decision. I don't feel like I should be told, that's too bad. We're going to do this anyways. I think before you decide to pass this law, we should be provided with the facts. The taxpayer should be provided with the facts. What exactly is going to happen to the individual taxpayers, the individual businesses in the community? How is that going to impact us? Don't go and make a decision without making sure that you let the people know what the facts are. If we're to believe some of the people that have spoke tonight, then there hasn't been an impact on tourism and the wineries, because we've been told that we were selected as the destination place of the Finger Lakes, and wineries are growing. So I don't see how the landfill has had an impact on the community if those are the facts that we've been presented with tonight. So thank you for letting me speak.
Good evening. Thank you for allowing me to speak. It's a long night. Pretty much I had quite the list coming in, but it's been narrowed down quite a bit. I lived here all my life. I've raised 2 children. I have 6 granddaughters. We're all still right here. I'm retired and on a fixed income. My concerns are this, and I think I voiced them in letters I believe I sent. It's not a Seneca Meadows fest, it's a business fest for everybody here. We're all businesses. Everybody has a business. Everybody. What I'm concerned with is what do we do when this vacuum is created? We're closing one. Do we have something to replace it? Where do we put our trash? Where does our trash go? How much is that going to cost us to dispose of our trash? How much are our school taxes going to go up? I understand there was a plan. Somebody says there's been talk on this subject about how much of an increase we would expect. I would think that dialogue would have been started before the law was brought on the table. You would have contacted banks, local businesses, you would have sat down with people in the community. These people have mortgages, they have vehicles that are financed, all come together to come up with a plan. And that's what I'm really focused on. I mean, I would like to know how much my taxes are going to go up when these businesses are gone and these people aren't here. I mean, am I going to be at a stage in my life at 66 years old where I'm going to sell my house and have to leave to a different area? We love it here. The concerns you're faced with are real. And there's hard decisions, real hard decisions. But like I say, my biggest are the taxes, the jobs, the impact on the people that are going to be left without skilled jobs. A lot of these jobs are skilled, and they're not going to be replaced. I mean, we can try as we might, but they're not going to stay here. They're going to have to go where the work is. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor and members of the council. My name is Scott Turner. I
represent Seneca Meadows. I want to reiterate the point tonight that Seneca Meadows made to the media in mid-May, shortly after local law number 7, as it's called, was proposed by the town board. That were the town board to enact the local law or anything remotely resembling it, that action would be a breach of the 2007 host community agreement between the town and Seneca Meadows. Seneca Meadows would have to suspend immediately under that agreement all benefits and take all other necessary actions to protect its interests and the interests of its employees. I was involved in the 2007 negotiation of the amendments to the original 1998 host community agreement. I can attest to the fact, because I was involved in those negotiations, that the intent of the parties, the town and Seneca Meadows, was the 2007 agreement, the governing agreement today, was to govern the parties' relationship through the life of the expansion that DEC permitted in 2007. Enactment of any local law would modify the terms of town requirements governing Seneca Meadows operations that would substantially interfere with those operations, as in not providing Seneca Meadows with the full life of the 2007 expansion, would violate Section 18D of the host community agreement and would justify Seneca Meadows' actions that I've described. Thank you for the opportunity to present to you tonight.
Hello. My name is Dylan Policelli. I'm a taxpayer and homeowner in the town of Seneca Falls. If the environment was truly your #1 concern and you were stewards of the environment, you would not be advocating for a mega landfill. Seneca Meadows and their marketing team have done a good job at striking fear into many about what could happen when the dump closes. However, their fear-mongering tactics about raised taxes and lost jobs are misled, over-exaggerated, and unassured. Fear-mongering is a shameful tactic used to keep an upper hand and protect special interests for the ever-prosperous. Not only are they using fear-mongering tactics on the townspeople, but they stoop so low to use it on their own employees as well. Job loss is not the goal of any concerned citizen and should not be made out as such. If the dump were to close tomorrow, there would be some degree of job loss, we understand, but not to the severity that Seneca Meadows will have the town and their employees think. Jobs that will be kept, not lost, include the close monitoring and updating of the leachate liners, the pumping of the leachate itself, the collection of the gas through the many new gas wells, truckers who will continue to truck, just not to here, and various levels of management who will oversee multiple aspects of post-closure landfill operations. In addition to all of this, when Seneca Meadows so kindly gives its final gift of the landfill and all of its contents to the town, it is very likely that the town will hire those specially skilled employees to continue to ensure this garbage heap does not seep further into our daily lives. All of these jobs are as permanent as the dump itself and highly valued amongst concerned citizens. I hope each and every one of you understands this. As for Local Law 7, we must revise as necessary and pass this law to protect the future of this community. We have petitioned to the DEC to show face with the town so they can hear our perspective on the 2017 permit extension, and it's as if we don't exist. The passing of this law will get their attention, especially once they're not able to reward the dump with 10 more years of piling everyone else's trash in our community. The stink has proven uncontrollable. The completion of the sale to Waste Connections begs the question, why would a company invest into one which is only slated to be profitable for less than 10 years, yet responsible for 40? There is no plan to stop the imported trash. Their plan is growth. Waste Connections will turn Seneca Falls into a wasteland. It's time for Seneca Meadows to transition from being leaders in trash importing to being leaders in post-closure landfilling process and long-term community safety. Remember, this is not the town of Seneca Meadows, this is the town of Seneca Falls, and we have the right to say what laws exist, no matter what a multi-billion-dollar garbage dumping corporation has to say about it. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to the board tonight. My name is Robert Holmes, and I am with Cornerstone Environmental. I'm a registered professional engineer in the state of New York. I've been working as an engineering consultant and environmental professional at the Seneca Meadows landfill for over 15 years. I've also worked with the new owners of the landfill, Waste Connections, for over 4 years. At Seneca Meadows, I have acted as the engineer of record for several components at the site, including capping projects, landfill cell, design and construction projects in the 600-acre Dove Preserve. Additionally, our firm is responsible for the implementation and oversight of select environmental compliance programs at the site. I'd like to echo concerns of the other speakers that the local law has the potential to directly impact not just the jobs at the landfill, but also directly impact jobs with consultants, vendors, and contractors across the region. It will have a significant economic impact that these groups bring to the town when they regularly are at the site. I can speak with firsthand knowledge that the landfill design per New York State DEC regulations is protective of the environment, and the Seneca Meadows is a world-class and award-winning solid waste management facility, both from the design and compliance standpoint. Finally, in my experience, it is the priority of Waste Connections and the staff at the facility to continue to operate and build a world-class facility. I urge the members to vote against the local law. Thanks for the time.
Thank you. Is Mr. Krieger here? No. Mr. Brendan Wolowski?
Very close. Good Polish name. All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank you for taking the time, for giving me the opportunity to speak. My name is Brendan Pulaski, and I work at Seneca Meadows. Tonight I would like to talk about Seneca Meadows Tire Recycling Facility. Part of my many duties include working with and securing volume for tire recycling at Seneca Meadows. When the tires arrive on site, we then recycle them to beneficially use tire chips for our landfill. We on average recycle 2 to 3 million, yes I said million, tires that come from the residents, roads, ponds, and lakes of Seneca Meadows in New York State every year. This is a top-notch recycling facility that is providing a true, sustainable green service for the state in Seneca Falls. What happens to these tires if we are not around? The truth is that without our facility, these tires will once again end up along the roads, woods, ponds, and lakes of not only Seneca Meadows, but throughout New York State. In addition, without our facility running and processing tires for recycling, many businesses will effectively cease to exist. I am talking about hundreds of jobs and the livelihoods of local and non-local families. These businesses rely on Seneca Meadows to provide a home for proper recycling of the tires that each and every one of us utilize every day. I truly appreciate working for a company that provides such an important environmental service to Seneca Falls and New York State. Thank you for your time, everybody.
Good evening. My name is Steve Churchill. I live in the town of Seneca Falls. I'm a Seneca County Supervisor, and I didn't write a speech, but I do have a lot to say. First of all, I support the passage of this law. I think it's a critical time. We're all trapped in this very narrow window, and this has very little to do with all of us, because the landfill is going to be an issue for those folks that aren't even born today. None of us will be here when that landfill's an issue. None of us. And it's going to be. It has to be. It has to leak. And you all know that. You got to believe that. You know, like the gentleman said earlier, the Challengers failed. Highly engineered, redundant systems. Fukushima nuclear power facility in Japan failed. Highly engineered, redundant systems. BP oil spill failed. Highly redundant, highly engineered systems. The landfill is not a highly engineered system, and guarantee you it will fail. There's some money set aside, my understanding, $50 million bond to mitigate the problem for 30 years after the landfill closes. And after that, And 50 million would cover what? Nothing. But this is how I look at the landfill. The landfill is a black hole. I heard that it's a, what did you say, Valerie? Sacrifice zone. Yes, sacrifice zone. I think of it as a black hole. Started in the mid-50s, really. That's when I used to go out there. It was just a Waterloo dump. On the other side of the Black Brook was a woods. Woods is gone. Black Brook's gone. The road that we used to get there on is gone. I mean, it's a black hole. What is it taken from Seneca County and the surrounding region? It's sucked up land and soil and airspace and tires. I mean, they just get sucked in this black hole. Wetlands. Black Brook's gone. Houses. There were houses up Black Brook Road, 414, gone. Businesses. Our time. You know, I've got to be here tonight. All these folks are here tonight. We don't have better things to do? Come on. Commercial property. It sucks in a whole lot of garbage. Farms, industrial waste, lots of stone, dirt, Waterloo, town roads, and Seneca Falls. We're all getting sucked in this black hole, and it just keeps getting bigger. And just like a black hole, once things go in, they never come out. And so now's the time. I look at this board as being the dream team, and I hope they live up to it. Many boards before you faced landfill issues, and they failed us. You folks have an opportunity to be remembered by those folks that aren't born today. They can look back and say there was one board that made a difference and turned it around. And hopefully that's you folks. Please,
Mr. Jeff, will you go? Lavelle.
Good evening, and thank you very much for letting me speak tonight. My name is Jeff Lavelle, and I'm the operations manager for Zolad's Construction Company. Zolad's is a construction vendor that, since 2003, has completed numerous projects for Seneca Meadows. Currently, we have between 35 to 40 employees that are working on the Seneca Meadows site. Over these many years, it has been a pleasure to be a part of a team that has led and continues to lead not just by the state-of-the-art facility that they have built and operate, but also by their commitment to the surrounding communities, their environmental leadership, from their local education center to the largest wetland creation in New York State history that we were fortunate enough to be part of. Seneca Meadows is good. They have been good for the local economy and communities. They have been a good employer. They have been good for our own company growth and the growth of numerous other local businesses and businesses across the state. Thank you.
Greg, I'll let you pronounce your last name. Okay, thank you, sir.
Hi, my name is Greg Stohoviak. I work for Zolad's Construction myself, too. I've been a part of SMI since 2003 myself. We employ a lot of people. We employ a lot of people for this town, from this town. We get a lot of hotels. We spend a lot of money in this town. There's nothing more important. With SMI, people here seem to demonize Kyle Black and SMI themselves for what they do. They shouldn't be demonized. They should be applauded for what they do. Everybody here keeps on talking about the odors and stuff like that. They have plenty of guys on my team that are trying to get rid of these odors. Everybody knows there's some odors, but I'm telling you firsthand, being in that landfill, they are doing top-notch work to get rid of them odors, and they will continue to keep on getting rid of them odors. I've met a lot of people. You know, I'm not the local guy, but I don't live that far away. I do drive home every night. I met a lot of friends around here, and I want to continue that work around here with these friends. You guys cannot adopt this law. It's not good for the community, it's not good for New York State, it's not good for nobody. Thank you.
Okay, just tell us something.
My name's Tom Lingevich. I'm a project manager with Zolads Construction. I also have been involved with all the projects we've done out here since 2003. I can attest these are world-class guys, and it's a world-class facility. I support Seneca Meadows and against local law 7. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're almost done here. Second to the last one. Seneca Meadows, they got a great staff, hardworking, dedicated guys. They're making progress over there, you can tell. I've been living at the Holiday Inn for the last year at Mike Hotel. The odors have been vastly improved. We're doing a lot of work over there, they are too. Let's keep them going, let's make this facility go on for a long time. Thank you. Thank you.
Julia Doyle. Is Julia here? Okay. That's the last of our petitioners, and we're going to go right into our regular business. One of the things we